So I don't think that there are any particularly strong arguments for theism, but I do think that there's at least 4 modest arguments for theism that we can say, look, these are evidential chips that fall in favor of theism. If we're just dispensing with burdens of justification and following evidence where it leads, these 4 chips fall in favor of theism. And so I think the first is moral agency. So the fact that there are moral agents in the world is more likely on theism than naturalism. Why? Because theism implies the existence of at least one moral agent, God. So the probability of observing a moral agent on theism is 1.
Yeah.
Now, naturalism just cannot make any similar claim. There is just no implication of naturalism that can come close.
Can I just say that as a theist, I wouldn't even agree with that. But anyway, that would be a different discussion.
Fair enough. But another straightforward chip, I think, is the fact that people have religious experiences and cogent religious experiences that move people to change their very forms of life. Theism gives us a very ready explanation for why people have religious experiences.
Yeah.
Because they're communicating with the divine. Now, do I think that evidence is undercut by other facts? Yes, but we won't get into that right now. Straightforward, if we're just in a vacuum talking about which better predicts religious experiences, it's theism. Beauty is, I think, another one. Now, I realize this is a controversial datum. Not everyone believes that aesthetic properties are in the world.
For real, yeah.
But I do. I am a realist about aesthetic properties. So, and I think aesthetic properties are more likely given theism than naturalism. Naturalism doesn't give us any reason to predict aesthetic properties, properties that something like, Mozart would have. Like, naturalism just isn't going to explain that like theism can. And so then I think the last one, which is, again, controversial, but I think it's interesting, is if the universe began to exist, if it was finite. Like, I think it's still an open question whether or not the universe began to exist or is finite. I'm inclined to think that it's eternal, but I can't, I wouldn't bet my house on it. No way.
Right.
But I think that's, if the steady state view of the universe was to favor naturalism, and something like creation ex nihilo, a beginning to the universe, was to favor something like theism, well, then you just have to let the evidential chips fall where, this is how the chip fell. This one falls in favor of theism.